Wonderful time of the week. With Cody commanding, it will be a 6-0 sweep. It's the most wonderful time of the week. What's up, males, females, and all others? It's Susie.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
What's up, guys? Back again.
transactions video to break down this week. And I hope you loved my intro. I worked very hard on that. Probably over like 34 minutes, maybe, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We have 3 moves to go over, and week 3 is a pretty crucial part in the season as every team's gotten a time to feel out their team. And now they're deciding to make some changes as you start to progress towards the thick of the season. So these are some crucial moves for every team, and we're going to do our best to break these down for you and give you an understanding of how these moves will make each team better. Move on to the first transaction, and it's a move from none other than the coach of the St. Louis Swab Blues, Malone, and Malone decided to drop Florges, his passive fairy, in exchange for Togekiss. The main intent with this move is Malone. He wanted to get a Mon that's a little bit more versatile and Togekiss, who can run all sorts of items better offensively than Florges can be. Florges can be very passive at times. So this balances out his team. And it just makes his team a lot more threatening. Some mons that are very passive on his team right now, like Bronzong and Weezing. So by adding this mon to his team, his entire team, for the most part, can hit other squads offensively while still keeping Wish Pass for his team.
Yeah, I overall like this move for Malone. Really, Togekiss is the better fairy. The only thing that you really lose out on is nothing. Just it gives you a rocks weakness, which is it, because they both get Wish, they both get like Heal Bell or Aromatherapy, however you want to say it. They both get setup options. It's just Togekiss has a lot more options in terms of moves that it can run. Florges' move pool is absolutely atrocious in terms of coverage moves, where Togekiss can run like Heat Wave. It of course gets that Flying Stab now. It can run Aura Sphere. It's just a better overall mon, and who doesn't love Serene Grace Air Slash? It's a mon that Malone has used in the past, so he's going to be pretty comfortable with it. So I overall like this move, and you really lose nothing by getting Togekiss. And I would say the only issue is if his team is already Rocks weak, and I mean he does have a Kyurem Black, but it still withholds the defogger that Togekiss is.
Also, we must add that another component of this move is it allows Malone to tap into hacks a little bit more,
Oh yes.
which is something he dislikes. So being able to distribute hacks a lot more often is something he definitely was looking to do with this move. And he hasn't given us any reasoning exactly, but I do know he did say that was one of the reasons he wanted to go after something like Togekiss. Next move we have is a two-part move from the coach of the London Lapras, one of the best teams so far this year, 2-0 at this point. And Cody decided to drop Reuniclus and Slurpuff in exchange for Suicune and Medicham. So, behind dropping Reuniclus was he already has a Clefable on his team, and they're both very similar as they mainly go in to be Magic Guard sweepers. So it was a little bit redundant at that point. Suicune instead, which kind of stops mons that are fire type that run through his team like Marowak did in week 2 to stop that. And then Slurpuff, he just didn't really need. He already had Clefable as a fairy type, and he said that he hadn't felt like he was going to bring Slurpuff very much. So why not add him on in Metachan that gives him the psychic typing back and adds a fighting type to his team while also giving him more physical threats.
Alright, so going into reasoning that Cody sent me, so he said, was looking to get rid of Reuniclus and Slurpuff for some time now since week 1. Reuniclus and Clefable were both redundant, having both on the same team. being both slow, Magic Guard setup, utility users. Hadn't brought Reuniclus until week 3 against Suzy, and it didn't fare out well. Haven't brought Slurpuff all season, and already had Clefable as my very backbone on the team. The first 2 weeks, I had riskily relied on Greninja to take on fire hits from both Ninetales and Alolan Marowak, since Suzy did not bring Emboar against me. Luckily, Suzy did not bring Emboar against me, as that could have ran through my team. I looked at my options and really needed a dependable fire and ice resist, and Suicune is a mon I'm very comfortable using. Picking up Medicham as a psychic replacement, as well as a fighting, I did not have. Looking forward to using both going forward. So basically, Cody just talking about how Reuniclus and Clefable is redundant, which is something that we talked about in the draft recap, if I remember correctly. You don't need them on the same team. This is overall better for him. Like, yes, Clefable and Suicune still has a bit of redundancy. They're just walls that often run Calm Mind, and don't have to worry about status due to, like Heal Bell, or kind of Heal Bell, Rest, and then Magic Guard. So it's a little bit similar there, but yes, I feel that if you ever have an offensive water type, like myself, like I have Keldeo, so I picked up Slowking and now I have Slowbro as well. If you have an offensive water type, you need a defensive water type as well, because he said he was relying on Greninja to take those attacks. You don't want it to take those attacks, so getting Suicune is going to help out his team a lot. Which takes pressure off of Aggron for like fire types to threaten it out. And Medicham is such an underrated mon, and it really helps him out. He was fine with special attackers. He really didn't need any more, and this just opens up his team for what he can do. And yeah, Medicham just hits so hard.
As always, great analysis, Hutch. But one more pair of moves from the coach of the St. Louis Samurats, Anderson, to drop Tangrowth and Xatu for Superior and Archeops. I think that's how you say it.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Hey, I got a name right. I know I called Togekiss wrong earlier. So we got from Anderson. We can kind of talk about what he was referring to. So in Season 5, I set out with a plan to draft and play more offensive, since the grind of my recent bulky style of play can be tiresome. Even so, old habits by preparing bulky offensive teams without having the same kind of mons to make the style successful. And Tangrowth will force me to build more offensively. Still offers some defensive capabilities while giving me a nice sweeping option, and Archeops offers a powerful U-turn option and fits several on my team. So I really like this move by Brad, just because Tangrowth has been very, very bad, which is something I do say stand by, just because he is so talented at making any mon he wants to use work very well. And this mon just does not work well for Brad. I don't know what it is. Maybe he's just cursed. Maybe he wants it to fail. I'm kidding. But I like that he got a mon like Superior who can do a lot more offensively for his team, because his team right now is just very bulky. It gives him a little bit of bulk, but also lets forces him to play way more offensively. And pairing that with Coco and Mamoswine is absolutely terrifying to prep for. Over to Archeops, it gives him a much better speed tier that helps mons. That gives him a lot of speed with mons like a Selgor, Superior, Coco already. Maybe the fastest team in the league. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's up there.
If you're not counting abilities, yes.
And then going along with what he said, the U-turn option, that's always very nice. And another rock setter never hurt anyone.
Yeah, so with this move, I was kind of indifferent about it at first. I 100% agree with the Archeops one. I would do Xatu for Archeops every day of the week. Archeops, it bridges his speed tiers, like it bridges Delphox and Tapu Koko, just so it staggers it a little bit, because I love staggering speed tiers. It makes it harder to like speed creep. So I 100% agree with that. But then the Tangrowth for Superior. Now, looking at it, Superior is actually a pretty bulky mon. It can take a lot of hits. It can run sub-seed sets, which is very common. You can run Synthesis, Giga Drain. There's a lot of way to get health on it. And I feel like Tangrowth it's a very bulky mon if you make it a very bulky mon. You can make that thing very offensive. That's a thing. It's just I think the mold of Brad's team is it makes it be defensive. So you can't ever afford to run it offensively. So it makes sense getting Superior. It gives him a mon that is predominantly offensive but can still take a lot of hits. Plus Superior newly got Defog. So I don't know if that's something that Brad wants to try, but that's definitely an option if he wants to bring it as like a pseudo offensive, like max HP, max special attack, something like that. But yeah, it can take a lot of hits and can fire back pretty hard. And I don't hate this move, but I don't know if it's a move I would have made myself just because I love the synergy between Tangrowth, Mandibuzz, and Empoleon. But it certainly doesn't like kill the mold of his team, so it's just preference at that point, and at least he's forcing himself into the role of a hyper offensive team because in the past Brad has drafted extremely bulky teams. Um, and he's really trying to get away from that, and he's forcing himself to be more offensive to change up his playstyle. So I like that he's forcing himself to do it, and hopefully it works out.
All right. Thank you again, Hutch, for your analysis. Thank you for making mine not so bad because you're able to back me up, sort of. So thank you for being here with us, guys. Week of transactions, and we will see you next week.
Goodbye.